Midnight frequencies. The mountain observatory stood like a silver sentinel against the midnight sky, its massive dish antenna reaching toward the stars like a metallic hand grasping for cosmic secrets. Inside the main control room, Dr. Sarah Chen rubbed her tired eyes and sipped from a lukewarm cup of coffee. Another night of cosmic silence, she whispered to the empty room, her voice barely audible over the soft hum of equipment. The digital clock on the wall read 2:17 a.m., the quietest part of her shift when the world slept and only she remained awake, listening to the void. Sarah adjusted her glasses and turned back to the radio frequency analyzer. For 6 months she had been scanning specific sectors of deep space, searching for patterns in the static that might suggest intelligent origin. Most of her colleagues at the Hawthorne Observatory considered her project a waste of resources, but Director Kai had given her this graveyard shift to pursue her theories in peace. Just one anomaly, she murmured, fingers dancing across the keyboard. Just one deviation from random noise. That's all I'm asking for. The equipment suddenly emitted a high-pitched whine, causing Sarah to flinch. The monitors flickered, numbers scrolling rapidly across the screen as if possessed. She leaned forward, heart racing as she witnessed something impossible. A clear pattern emerging from the cosmic background radiation. This can't be happening, she gasped, frantically recording the data. This frequency shouldn't exist naturally. The pattern stabilized, pulsing in rhythmic waves that reminded Sarah of breathing. Then through her headphones came something that made her blood freeze. A whisper, soft but unmistakable. Sarah! She tore the headphones off, spinning around to scan the empty room. Hello, is someone there? Only the quiet hum of machines answered her. With shaking hands, she replaced the headphones. Sarah Chen, the voice whispered again, somehow both distant and intimately close. I found you at last. Who is this? She demanded, voice cracking. How are you accessing this frequency? The monitors began to flicker more intensely, and the temperature in the room plummeted. Sarah could see her breath forming clouds in the suddenly frigid air. The radio equipment sparked, and the main screen displayed a swirling vortex of purple light that pulsated in sync with the strange signal. What's happening? She gasped, backing away from her workstation as static electricity made her hair stand on end. The swirling light expanded, stretching and forming into a humanoid shape that hovered several inches above the floor. Sarah watched in stunned silence as the light solidified into the form of a woman, tall, elegant, with skin a luminous shade of purple that seemed to glow from within. Her eyes opened, revealing irises that shimmered like liquid silver. Dr. Sarah Chen, the being said, her voice now clear but with an otherworldly resonance. I've traveled across galaxies to find you. Sarah reached for the emergency alarm but hesitated when the creature smiled, revealing delicate fangs that gleamed in the dim light of the monitors. Please don't be afraid, the being said, raising her hands in a gesture of peace. My name is Arya, I mean you no harm. What are you? Sarah whispered, unable to tear her eyes away from the beautiful yet terrifying creature before her. I am what your legends might call a vampire, Arya replied, though not of your earth. I come from a world where we sustain ourselves not through blood, but through the energy of emotion and thought. Sarah's scientific mind raced through possibilities, hallucination, dream, or perhaps some exotic form of cosmic radiation affecting her perception. Yet the being before her seemed too real, too solid despite her ethereal glow. Why me? Sarah asked. Why are you here? Arya moved closer, each step graceful as though she floated rather than walked. Because you've been calling to me, Sarah Chen. Every night you've sent signals into the dark, and somehow across the vast emptiness between stars, those signals found me. Outside, clouds gathered over the observatory, and thunder rumbled in the distance as if the universe itself acknowledged this impossible meeting between worlds. I don't understand, Sarah said, her back now pressed against the wall. Arya reached out a hand that stopped just short of touching Sarah's face. You will, she promised, and together we will unlock mysteries beyond your imagination. Cosmic thirst. The storm outside intensified, lightning flashing through the observatory dome windows and casting strange shadows across Arya's purple skin. Sarah remained pressed against the wall, her scientific mind desperately trying to rationalize the impossible being standing before her. This can't be real, Sarah whispered. You can't be real. Extraterrestrial life, perhaps, but vampires are mythological constructs. Arya's silver eyes sparkled with amusement. Your Earth legends of blood-drinking creatures are merely echoes of truth, distorted over centuries. On my world, Noctera, we evolved to sustain ourselves on something far more powerful than physical sustenance. A particularly violent thunderclap shook the building, causing the lights to flicker. The radio equipment continued to pulse with strange energy, creating an otherworldly hum that seemed to resonate with Arya's presence. "And what is that?" Sarah asked, her scientific curiosity beginning to overcome her fear. "Emotion," Arya replied, her voice like velvet against Sarah's mind, particularly powerful emotions, fear, joy, and especially passion. Sarah swallowed hard, noticing how the temperature in the room seemed to fluctuate with each word Arya spoke. "So you're here to feed on me?" Arya shook her head, taking a step back to give Sarah space. "I'm here because your radio frequencies have been calling to me for months, growing stronger each night. At first I thought it coincidence, but then I heard your voice through the static speaking of stars and cosmic mysteries." Sarah frowned. "I've never transmitted my voice through these systems, not consciously," Arya said. "But your thoughts, your passion for discovery, they created ripples across dimensions that I could feel." Moving to the radio console, Arya passed her hand over the equipment. The screens responded to her proximity, displaying wavelengths that pulsed in rhythm with her movements. "I was exiled from my world for refusing to feed indiscriminately," she explained. "My kind typically harvest emotional energy without concern for the source, but I couldn't bear to cause suffering." The revelation made Sarah's scientific mind race with questions. "So you've been starving?" Arya turned, her silver eyes meeting Sarah's. "I've sustained myself on ambient emotions for centuries, drifting between worlds, until your signal reached me, calling me here." Sarah cautiously approached the equipment, her expertise momentarily overriding her fear. "These readings are impossible. They suggest you're generating energy patterns similar to quantum entanglement. Your science is beginning to understand what my kind has known for millennia." Arya said, "Consciousness creates connections across space and time." Another lightning strike illuminated the room, and for a brief moment, Sarah caught a glimpse of something behind Arya, the suggestion of wings made of shadow and starlight. There and gone in an instant. "The storm has isolated this observatory," Arya continued. "Communications are down. We are alone here until dawn." Sarah checked the emergency systems, confirming Arya's statement. The roads would be impassable until morning, and the backup generator was now powering their essential systems. "Why should I trust you?" Sarah asked, though her fear was gradually being replaced by fascination. Arya moved closer, and this time Sarah didn't back away. "Because I could have taken what I needed without revealing myself. Instead, I chose to speak with you." Their eyes met, and Sarah felt a strange connection forming between them, like static electricity but warmer, more intimate. When Arya reached out her hand, Sarah hesitated only briefly before taking it. The touch sent a jolt through Sarah's body, not painful, but intense. Images flashed through her mind. A purple sky filled with twin moons, crystalline cities that sang with light, and beings of incredible beauty soaring through aurora-filled skies. "What was that?" Sarah gasped, pulling her hand away. "A glimpse of my home," Arya said softly. "And a taste of how we communicate." Sarah's scientific mind was racing with possibilities. Some form of telepathic connection, or perhaps direct neural stimulation. Arya smiled, revealing those delicate fangs again. "Your mind seeks to categorize the experience. That's why I was drawn to you, Sarah Chen. Your beautiful combination of analytical thinking and emotional depth." Outside, the storm continued to rage, but inside the observatory, a different kind of energy was building between them. Sarah found herself studying Arya's features, the elegant curve of her neck, the way her purple skin seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. "What happens now?" Sarah asked, aware that her pulse had quickened. "That depends on you," Arya replied. "I need emotional energy to maintain my form in your world. But I will not take what isn't freely given." The implication hung in the air between them, charged with possibility. Sarah knew she should be terrified, should be trying to escape or call for help. Instead, she felt a growing curiosity and an unexpected attraction to this impossible being. "If I helped you," Sarah said carefully, "would it harm me?" Quite the opposite, Arya responded, her voice dropping to a whisper. The exchange of energy between us would create a connection few humans have ever experienced. Sarah took a deep breath. For science, then, she said, attempting to maintain some professional distance even as her heart raced. I should document this encounter. Arya's silver eyes glimmered with amusement. Is that the only reason you're interested, Dr. Chen? Before Sarah could answer, the radio equipment suddenly crackled to life, emitting a burst of static followed by a voice. Base to Observatory 1, do you copy? Dr. Chen, are you there? We've detected unusual energy readings from your location. Commander Rena is en route to investigate. ETA 40 minutes, weather permitting. Please respond. Sarah and Arya exchanged glances, the moment between them interrupted by the intrusion from the outside world. It seems we'll have company soon, Arya murmured, her expression unreadable. What will you tell them about me, Sarah Chen? Starlit shadows. Sarah lunged for the radio transmitter, her mind racing to formulate a response that wouldn't sound completely insane. Observatory 1 to base, this is Dr. Chen. Just experiencing some equipment anomalies due to the storm. No need for Commander Rena to risk the journey in these conditions. The radio crackled. Negative, Dr. Chen. Commander Rena has already departed. The energy signatures we're detecting are unlike anything we've seen before. Stand by. Sarah set the transmitter down, turning to face Arya with new urgency. You need to hide, Commander. Rena is thorough, and she doesn't believe in anything she can't explain with conventional science. Arya tilted her head, studying Sarah with those mesmerizing silver eyes. You wish to protect me? I wish to protect both of us, Sarah replied, though she wasn't entirely sure why she felt so compelled to keep Arya's existence secret. If Rena finds you here, we'll both end up in some government facility being studied. Like lab specimens, Arya nodded, understanding flickering across her features. Your concern is warranted. Your military organizations have detected my kind before. The encounters rarely end well for either party. Sarah began moving around the observatory, securing equipment and trying to normalize the readings. Can you, turn invisible or something? A soft musical laugh escaped Arya's lips. Not exactly, but I can shift my form to be less perceptible to human senses. As Sarah watched, Arya's purple skin began to dim, her solid form becoming translucent until she resembled nothing more than a faint shadow with hints of starlight caught within. Remarkable, Sarah whispered, the scientist in her momentarily overwhelming all other emotions. How are you manipulating light particles like that? The same way I traveled across galaxies to find you. Arya's voice came from everywhere and nowhere, at once. Thought shapes reality more than your science yet understands. Sarah had little time to contemplate this as headlights cut through the darkness outside, visible through the windows despite the raging storm. Commander Rena had arrived earlier than expected. Stay hidden, Sarah urged, straightening her lab coat and attempting to look as normal as possible. Moments later, the observatory door slammed open, bringing with it a gust of rain-soaked wind and the imposing figure of Commander Rena. Tall and stern, with short-cropped gray hair and a perpetually suspicious expression, Rena had built her career on rooting out security threats, both terrestrial and, rumor had it, extraterrestrial. Dr. Chen, Rena said, water dripping from her military-issue raincoat. Would you care to explain why your little radio project is suddenly emitting energy signatures that scrambled half our monitoring systems? Sarah forced a smile. Commander, I appreciate your concern, but it's likely just interference from the storm affecting the equipment. Rena's eyes narrowed as she surveyed the room, seemingly sensing something amiss, strange. The energy spike originated before the storm intensified. Sarah felt a chill as Rena moved methodically through the observatory, examining instruments and occasionally glancing into shadowy corners as if expecting to find something hiding there. Your work has always pushed boundaries, Chen, Rena said, picking up a notebook and flipping through it casually. But tonight's readings suggest either equipment failure or something more interesting. I've been experimenting with new frequency ranges, Sarah offered, trying to sound casual while keeping herself between Rena and the darkest corner where Arya's shadowy form was barely visible. Rena placed a hand on the main console precisely where Arya had stood earlier. It feels warm, almost alive. From the corner of her eye, Sarah saw a ripple in the shadows, Arya moving slightly, perhaps responding to Rena's proximity. The commander must have sensed something too as she turned sharply toward the same spot. "What's that?" Rena demanded, reaching for the sidearm beneath her coat. Sarah thought quickly. Heating system malfunction. The vents have been creating strange air currents all night. For a tense moment, Rena stared into the shadows and Sarah feared Arya would be discovered. Then the radio equipment suddenly sparked, drawing Rena's attention away. "Your heating system is affecting electronic equipment now?" Rena asked skeptically. "The whole observatory needs an upgrade," Sarah said with a nervous laugh. "I've filed 3 maintenance requests this month alone." Rena continued her inspection, periodically checking readings on a handheld device she'd brought with her. After what seemed like an eternity, she finally appeared satisfied, or at least willing to postpone her investigation. "I'll have a full technical team here at first. Light," she announced. "Until then, log everything unusual no matter how minor it seems." After Rena left with one final suspicious glance around the room, Sarah exhaled deeply. That was close. Arya rematerialized, her purple form solidifying from the shadows. She senses more than she understands. Her mind is sharp but confined by rigid thinking. "You read her thoughts?" Sarah asked, surprised. I glimpsed her emotional state, fear mingled with curiosity, a dangerous combination in someone with power. Sarah sank into her chair, suddenly exhausted. "She'll be back with a team. We don't have much time." Arya moved closer, her presence bringing that strange warmth Sarah had felt earlier. "Then we should use what time we have." "To do what?" Sarah asked, though something in Arya's silver gaze made her breath catch. "To share what we both seek," Arya replied softly. "You wish to understand cosmic mysteries. I wish to experience genuine connection after centuries of isolation." Sarah found herself standing, drawn to Arya like a planet caught in a gravitational pull. "Show me," she whispered. "Show me your world again." Arya reached out, her purple fingers intertwining with Sarah's. This time the connection formed more slowly, more deliberately. Sarah gasped as visions filled her mind, not just of Noctera, but of Arya's life there. She saw Arya standing before a council of beings with similar silver eyes, refusing to feed on a captured species from another world. She felt Arya's exile, the centuries of drifting through the cosmos, sustained only by ambient emotions gathered from passing worlds. "You've been alone for so long," Sarah murmured, tears forming in her eyes. "Until your signal reached across the void." Arya confirmed, her face closer now, a mind that sought to understand rather than conquer, a soul that resonated with mine. Their foreheads touched, and Sarah felt that strange energy building between them again, like static electricity but warmer, flowing from her body to Arya's and back again in circuits of increasing intensity. "Is this how you feed?" Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. "This is how we connect," Arya corrected gently. "The sharing of energy is merely a consequence, not the purpose." Outside, the storm began to subside, stars occasionally visible through breaks in the clouds. Inside, a different kind of storm was brewing between scientist and alien visitor, their silhouettes merging into one as the observatory equipment hummed with unexplainable energy. The radio suddenly crackled again. "Observatory 1, this is base. Be advised, we're picking up a vehicle approaching your location. Unidentified, not one of ours. Proceed with caution." Sarah and Arya separated, both turning toward the windows where, indeed, another set of headlights could be seen winding up the mountain road. "Rena wouldn't return so soon," Sarah said, concern creeping into her voice. Arya's expression darkened. "No. This is something else. Something drawn by the energy our connection has released." Resonance. The approaching headlights belonged to a sleek black government vehicle. As it parked, a tall man in a dark suit emerged. Agent Cooper. His face was expressionless as he surveyed the observatory before entering. "Dr. Chen," he said, coldly, "Government intelligence. We detected unusual energy signatures from space." Sarah stood protectively near where Arya had once again faded into shadow. "Just equipment malfunctions from the storm." Cooper's eyes narrowed. "Our satellites picked up a transmission unlike anything we've recorded. Something responded to your signals, Doctor." He moved around the room, waving a device that beeped increasingly faster near the corner where Arya hid. "I know something's here," Cooper said, reaching for his weapon. "Something not of this earth." Sarah stepped between them. "You don't understand what you're dealing with." "I understand perfectly," Cooper replied. "Alien contact protocols are clear. Capture and study." Suddenly, Arya materialized fully, her purple form glowing with defensive energy. "You will not harm her," she stated, silver eyes flashing. Cooper raised his weapon, but Arya moved with inhuman speed, disarming him with a graceful motion. "Sarah," Arya whispered, "our connection is strong enough now. I can show you everything." Their hands met, and the observatory filled with light as their energies intertwined completely. Cooper backed away in fear as the radio equipment surged with power. "What you're feeling," Arya murmured against Sarah's ear, "is our souls resonating across dimensions. We've been connected through lifetimes." Sarah saw visions of past encounters, different bodies, different worlds, but always the same souls finding each other across cosmic distances. Cooper recovered his weapon and aimed. "Step away from the human." "Choose," Arya told Sarah urgently. "Return to your world alone or journey with me between stars." Dawn whispers. Dawn approached, the first rays already threatening the horizon. Arya's form began to flicker as sunlight would soon dissolve her physical manifestation. "I can't maintain this form in daylight," she explained, her voice growing fainter. Cooper had been temporarily incapacitated by a pulse of energy from their connection, but reinforcements would arrive soon. The door burst open and Dr. Alex Kai rushed in, surprising Sarah. "I intercepted the government communications," he explained breathlessly. "I've always believed in your work, Sarah." Looking at Arya with wonder rather than fear, Alex continued. "The frequency modulator I've been developing, it could create a permanent bridge between dimensions." They worked frantically, Alex's expertise with quantum harmonics complementing Sarah's radio astronomy knowledge. Arya provided insights from her world's science, creating a device that hummed with possibility. "It won't let you stay physically," Sarah said sadly to Arya as they completed the modifications. "But our connection will remain," Arya replied, touching Sarah's face one last time. "I'll exist between worlds, able to reach you through the frequencies you've created." As sunlight streamed through the windows, Arya's physical form began dissolving into particles of light. "This isn't goodbye," she whispered, "merely transformation." Alex activated the device as government helicopters approached in the distance. The radio equipment surged with power as Arya's essence merged with the signal pattern. "I'll always hear you," Sarah whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Across any distance. And I'll always answer," came Arya's voice through the radio speakers, "when you call into the darkness." As Cooper regained consciousness and reinforcements arrived, they found only Sarah and Alex working on seemingly normal equipment. The evidence of Arya's physical presence had vanished with the dawn. Later that night, alone in the observatory, Sarah adjusted her radio to the special frequency they'd created. The speakers hummed to life with a familiar voice. "The stars look different from this side," Arya said, her presence felt though not seen. "But they're still beautiful." Sarah smiled, placing her hand on the console that now served as their connection across dimensions. "Tell me about them," she whispered. "We have all the time in the universe." Through the radio came soft laughter, followed by Arya's voice describing cosmic wonders only she could see. The beginning of a conversation that would span galaxies and lifetimes. their souls forever resonating on frequencies only they shared.